Should you really train to failure? If you've spent any time in the fitness world, you've probably heard someone say, every set should go to failure. Others will tell you the exact opposite. They'll say training to failure is unnecessary, maybe even harmful. So who's right? Do you actually need to train to failure to build muscle? Or is this one of the most misunderstood topics in fitness? Today we're going to look at what the science says, when failure helps, when it hurts, and how most lifters should actually use it. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is muscular failure? Failure occurs when you cannot complete another repetition with proper form, not when the set feels difficult, not when your muscles start burning, not when you're uncomfortable. True failure means another rep simply isn't possible. And that's an important distinction because many people think they're training to failure when they're actually stopping several reps short. Now here's why failure became so popular. It makes sense intuitively. If muscle growth comes from challenging the muscles, then taking every set to the absolute limit should build the most muscle, right? Not necessarily, because muscle growth isn't just about stimulus. It's also about fatigue. And that's where things become interesting. When you train to failure, you maximize muscle fiber recruitment. As the set becomes harder, your body is forced to recruit more and more muscle fibers, especially the larger, stronger fibers with the greatest growth potential. This is one reason failure training can be effective. It ensures the muscle receives a strong growth stimulus. But here's what many people ignore. Failure also creates significantly more fatigue, both muscular fatigue and systemic fatigue. The harder you push, the more recovery resources your body needs afterward. And recovery is not unlimited. Think about it. If you take every set of every exercise to complete failure, how do you think you'll feel tomorrow or next workout? For most people, performance starts dropping, strength decreases, recovery slows down, and eventually, progress suffers. This is where many lifters make a huge mistake. They confuse effort with effectiveness. A workout can feel brutal without being productive, and a productive workout doesn't always feel brutal. Now let's look at what research has found. Studies consistently show something interesting. You do not need to train to absolute failure to build muscle. In many cases, stopping 1 to 3 reps before failure produces nearly identical muscle growth. Think about that for a second. You can get almost all the benefits without accumulating all the extra fatigue. That's a huge advantage, especially for natural lifters, because recovery is often the limiting factor, not effort. Now, before people misunderstand this, I'm not saying failure is useless. Far from it. Failure is a tool. The problem is when people turn it into a religion. Like any tool, it works best in the right situation. Let's talk about compound exercises. Squats, deadlifts, bench presses, rows. These exercises involve a lot of muscle mass. They also generate a lot of fatigue. Taking every heavy squat set to complete failure is rarely a good idea. Not only does fatigue skyrocket, but technique often breaks down, and that's when injuries become more likely. This is why many experienced lifters leave a small number of reps in reserve. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. The stimulus remains extremely high, but recovery becomes much more manageable. Now let's compare that to isolation exercises. Lateral raises, bicep curls, leg extensions, tricep pushdowns. These exercises create far less overall fatigue, which means training closer to failure is usually much safer. If you fail a set of curls, nothing dramatic happens. You simply put the weight down. That's one reason many lifters push isolation exercises harder than compounds. Now let's address another common myth. If you're not sore, you didn't train hard enough. Completely false. Muscle soreness is not a reliable indicator of muscle growth. You can be incredibly sore and make little progress, or barely sore at all, and still build muscle effectively. Progress is measured by adaptation, not discomfort. Now let's talk about beginners, because beginners often ask, should I train to failure? Generally speaking, no, at least not all the time. Most beginners struggle to accurately identify failure anyway, and their technique is still developing. They'll usually make excellent progress simply by training hard and consistently, without needing to push every set to the limit. Advanced lifters are different. As training experience increases, the body becomes harder to stimulate. Advanced lifters often benefit from strategically using failure. But notice the word strategically, not constantly. Strategically. That's the difference. Now, here's what many successful bodybuilders actually do. They train close to failure most of the time, and occasionally reach failure when appropriate, especially on safer exercises. This gives them the best of both worlds: high stimulus, manageable fatigue, consistent recovery, consistent progress. Now let's answer the big question. Do you need to train to failure to build muscle? No. Can training to failure help build muscle? Absolutely. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. Failure is neither magical nor useless, and it's simply a tool. And the smartest lifters understand when to use it. Instead of blindly pushing every set to the limit, focus on training hard. Focus on progression. Focus on consistency. And remember, the goal isn't to win today's workout. The goal is to keep progressing for months and years. Because muscle isn't built in one session. It's built through thousands of quality sets over time. And sometimes, leaving one rep in the tank is exactly what allows you to keep progressing tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to put the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and let me know in the comments. Do you train to failure on every set, only the last set, or rarely at all? And I'll see you in the next one.